What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about LCX token today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. All right, here we are looking at this thing on a daily time frame. We do have our handy dandy MACD bearishly crossed, not building momentum yet. I'm assuming with this kind of peak, if you notice, it's not always. It doesn't mean that this always has to happen, but oftentimes you get a big round peak like this. You decay and then you build bearish momentum once again, and then you flip green. Okay, and what did you do here on these days? Well, from this first peak down to this smaller peak, you did drop over time, right? Same thing here, big peak, smaller peaks on the deep bars here, on the deeper colored red bars here, not the lighter colored red bars. Big peak here, and then you continue to drop until you flip green, then you move sideways, and you still continue to drop afterwards. Here we are. We've had our peak, I would say, of this MACD. We likely will at some point flip green, but before we do, likely we will get more deep red readings in the MACD that are at a lesser pace than this. I mean, who knows? Even at this rate, maybe we do see deeper readings still. It's very possible, but I don't think we're out of the woodworks yet, you guys. I think that we've got a little bit more to the downside to go, is all I'm trying to say. Okay, looking at this on the RSI is very, very clearly telling us as well that we are in a bearish posturing. Anytime that you are living below the 50 like this and you are gasping for air above the 50 like this, rejecting the 60 area as you are, it's not good. It's definitely not a good thing. It is impressive, to say the least, that you have not been oversold, but maybe this downtrend needs you to be oversold. A little capitulation there before you're actually done. And here we are at 15.4 cents. What does a little capitulation look like? Well, we can only assume. Let's take a low here. I'm going to take this low. I don't want to take the February 3rd low, personally. I'm going to take this low. I'm treating this like it's like a scam wick. So that high there. So we're at the 1272. Right, and then if you looked at this one, look, it's nowhere that makes sense. But here, this actually kind of makes sense a little bit. If we were to go lower, the one I like that 1618, man. I feel like that looks so obvious. It's the golden ratio for one, but then also right at prior areas of resistance here, right at prior areas of support here. Going back in time, not really that significant, to be completely fair, but yeah, relatively speaking, somewhat significant. Could you stop at the 1414? Well, it's more common. Like 60% of the time, you do go through the 1414. You wick a little bit through it instead of stopping at it. So I suppose it is possible to stop somewhere around this area, maybe at these wicks here. Also, prior areas of resistance, prior areas of support, kind of turbulence. So I would say, if I had to guess, LCX, just based on the price, you drop around 12.2 cents to 11.4 cents, somewhere in that range. From the current price, is that a 20 to 30% drop? It better be. Yeah, that's a 20% to 26%. That's perfect, right? The average altcoin I'm anticipating will drop 20 to 30% over the coming days. I'm actually thinking that this weekend might be the beginning of the dump, guys. Whenever the stock market closes on Friday, I think things are really going to take off to the downside. And then before it opens up on Monday, that would likely be around the time that we recover. I think Sunday or Monday will be the low day. And what I'm expecting of that low day is I'm expecting it to be something just like this day here, where it happens whenever the stock market's closed. It's going to be a wicked wick to the downside, and then we recover. We have a nice green day or something like that. I think next week is going to be a good week, but this week, and if it's not a good week next week, it'll be the end of the bad weeks, is what I'm thinking, right? But all of these lows, if you notice, they are pretty decent wicks, which means that this low that I'm talking about down here, this low area, this 20 to 26% drop, essentially, it's nothing to be afraid of, right? It's something to just sleep on. Like, literally, if it happens, when it happens, it's going to be over before you know it. It's going to be like that, and then we're moving up, right? It's okay that we're moving down. We are in a downtrend after all. If we look at this thing on a more broad scope, I actually want to look at this on a all-time history perspective, okay? Looking at it on a monthly perspective, there we go. You do have a somewhat bullish consolidation phase going on here, right? You've got a flat top with ascending lows. That's bullish, you guys. You could come down, you could go down below where I was talking about. You could go below 10 cents even, and you would still be forming these higher lows in this pattern. It's not necessarily an ascending triangle. I don't want to say that. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe more relatively speaking it is. But all in all, you have higher lows, right? From that low there, higher low. From this low here, higher low. And I wouldn't call it an ascending triangle, because an ascending triangle would be a straight line, right? Not a curved line like this. Maybe you have some kind of ugly, small ascending triangle here, but I don't know. It's an ascending pattern nonetheless, with the resistance point here at about 40 cents when it comes time to go higher, and that'll be very soon, my friends. I believe that next week will be the beginning of our move to the upside. By the end of this week or the very beginning of next week, I think we will have the low of this down move, which means that we can start looking to the upside. If we look at this low, let's look at the last couple lows that we had, right? This low here, once we found the low, once we were in this area, it took us about 3 weeks, and then we moved up in a very short amount of time. Right? Look at how long it took us to move back, not even this full percentage of a move, right? Whenever we moved up here, look at how fast we moved up. Look at how long it took us to move back, not even the same amount that we moved up. The bulls are clearly in control here. But low took 3 weeks to bottom out from and recover. Here at this low, it took you months before you recovered. And then here, it was a matter of weeks as well. So once we find our low, which I do think will be either by the end of this week, sometime over the next couple of days, or it could be sometime next week. That doesn't mean that we're just ripping to the moon immediately. It could, I mean, we could. It's possible. Anything's possible. But I would expect that probably we dilly-dally, we figure ourselves out for the rest of March, going into the very end of March, if not sometime in the beginning of April, more likely. That's when we will begin to reap the bullish rewards of being at these low prices. Okay, that's my expectation. From a low to a high here, we're at the golden ratio, going down to the areas that we were talking about. I mean, that 786 is looking ripe, man. I really like that right there. What percentage drop would that be overall? From here at 15.4 cents, 24.5 cents. I could see it. I could see it. I'm going to call for that specifically. If I had to, and I want to, I'm going to. 11.71 cents. That is the target. You're going to hit that, find support there, and rip on up from there. Where are you going to go once it's time to rip? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's go over that. From a high to a low here. We're not going to take that high because that's a fake out high. That's why. Okay. High to low here. Okay. And should I actually take out the low? That's like a fake out low too. So we'll use that low. And then we're also going to take the last cycle's high to the bear cycle low. That's what we're going to do. Okay. So the relative high to low in this consolidation phase, this relative high to low of the last cycle high, and see if any of these targets line up. Well, it's not common whenever you break above the 886 and you do see new highs relative to your high, whatever it is, all-time high or not. It's not common to stop below the 1272. It happens. I shouldn't say it's not common. It's just less common. Okay, it happens. It does happen, but it's not like the most rare thing ever. Something's broken if it happens, right? It happens. But I think that it's most common to actually interact with this area, if not go a little bit above it. This is, after all, your minimum target zone. And, you know, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just bullish on this thing because I hold some. But from November of 2021, it's been years. It's literally been 3.5 years that we've seen prices at new all-time highs. My thoughts would be that if we break out to new all-time highs, and when we do, we'd be at more than just our minimum target whenever it comes to this thing stopping. If we can move like this inside this range, what happens when we get outside of it? I would think we're going to see a phenomenal move. The 1272 is a good minimum target, I think, at $1.30. And let's get real. Let's even address here the 1618. It's possible. Again, it's less common, but it happens. You could stop below the 1272. The 1618 here is at about $1. That's nice psychological resistance. If you stop there, it wouldn't be crazy at all. We're at 15 cents right now. A move up to $1. Let's see, what would that be? That would be a move that takes you all the way up to about a 7x, 6x, 7x from here, right? Something in that range. That could happen. That's decent growth in a short amount of time, and I expect that would outperform the average altcoin too. But if you break above the 1618, if you break above $1, I doubt you stop at $1.30. I doubt you do. If you're so bullish that you're at new all-time highs, you're breaking above your golden ratio, the 1618 relatively speaking, and above that psychological level of $1, I would think you don't stop just above $1. I would think you go to your next fib areas, which might be $1.60 to $2. I really like this as a target. I think from the current price, anything from a 10x to a 12x, 13x might be something you can expect to see. If not there, don't get your hopes too high. You know, maybe you do stop at a 6 to 7x. It's possible. But again, I think the more likely outcome would be that you do go anything from like a 10 to a 13x is kind of what I would expect. If you were to go higher than that, and you can go higher than that, again, who knows how much pent-up aggression you have. I think LCX token is undervalued, you guys. I really do. And I think once it lets loose that goose, it's going to fly high. If we do go above the 200 level, if we do go above the 1414, the next fib is that 2272. And oftentimes you do wick a little bit past the 2272. What's right above the 2272 there? Well, it's the golden ratio, the golden extension of the overall high to low here. And that would be at about $3.65. Okay, that would promote an overall growth that's over a 20x, maybe a 25x. I have to say, I don't expect this to happen. I do expect it to happen overall, like by the end of the cycle, that and more. Absolutely. I think this thing's going to be worth like over $10, maybe even over $30 by the end of the cycle. But no, I don't think that I don't think that it goes to this by the end of this next move. When's the end of this next move, C-Zar? You keep saying that, but I don't know when it is. I've been saying it for months, so maybe you're new, or maybe you just want to hear me say it again, and I will say it. Likely by the end of May, somewhere in May. I shouldn't say I've been saying that for months. What I have been saying for months is it'll take 4 to 6 weeks to happen, and so back in December we were thinking it would happen by the end of January, by the end of February. January came along, we thought it'd be by the end of March. March came along, here we are now at the end of May. It will happen. It's just when will it happen? I don't know. I don't expect to know the exact day that it happens, but I do expect that the move will take probably 4 to 6 weeks to achieve once we get underway. So again, the low's coming. Once we find the low, that does not mean that 4 to 6 weeks from then that we're moving up. It's once we start moving up, 4 to 6 weeks is what I'm expecting it'll take for us to move up. Why? Because from this low here, from whenever we started moving up here, it's not from the low, but it's from when we started to move up. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks there, right? 6 weeks could be could not even be a proper estimate, right? Maybe it takes more time because this move took more time than 6 weeks here. If I delete all this, you can see, I mean, this one took 2 weeks, but this move, I guess it did take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Okay, that's actually not bad. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? Here, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks, that tends to be the amount of time that we see in these markets with these moves. It could be longer, it could be lesser, but I'm thinking somewhere in May is where we're going to top off nonetheless, okay? Weekly RSI. Actually, the weekly RSI looks pretty damn bullish. Getting overbought, not getting oversold. You do have lower lows in the RSI relative to this. Lower lows there. No, never mind. I was gonna say, I thought that it was bullish. I thought that we had hidden bullish divergence, but we don't. So never mind. It still is bullish overall, but we don't have hidden bullish divergence. That's okay. Stochastics are oversold. This is normally the area where you look to turn around, but that doesn't mean we have to turn around immediately. Okay, mind you. Daily RSI again looking bearish, and the MACD I think is also looking bearish. So hold on, guys. Hold on. I'll be right back. Let me just check on something. All right. I've got steaks thawing, and I have 2 cannibals for pets, and I don't want them getting into my steaks. I thought I heard them getting into it, but I don't know what it was. And now that I'm sitting down, I hear noises again. So anyways, guys, I don't really have anything else to say. I think that if we want to talk about all-time highs, we can do that, okay, just to talk about the potential of this thing. Potential does not mean likelihood, does not mean it's guaranteed to happen, okay? Be aware. 118 million, we're going to round up to 120 just to keep it easy on C-Zar, okay? $120 million market cap. 120. If you were to see 100x, what would that look like? That'd look like a $12 billion market cap, right? 100x would be a $12 billion market cap. Can a crypto coin that looks bullish, relatively bullish, looks like it wants to break out to the upside? Absolutely it does. It just looks like it wants to go down a little bit more. That's been around since 2019, 2020. This is its second bull cycle. Can a crypto like this achieve a $12 billion market cap? Yes. Yes, it can. Is it guaranteed to happen? No, it's not. That's a 100x. That's a lot to ask for. In all fairness, you know, from this low here to this high. Oh, that's not what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. Low to high here. You did see a 450x last cycle. Okay, so I don't think asking for a 100x is too crazy from here. But what about the low? Because you're measuring from the low there. Okay, fair point. What about the low? Let's go to, what would 100x be from here? That'd be about 15 bucks, 1540. 100x from here would be at about 1540. I mean, hell, that would be a bigger move than last cycle. So again, it's not guaranteed. And let's be fair too. Let's look at this for what it is. We're not moving up as bullishly as we were last cycle, are we? I mean, maybe it's more methodical. It's less erratic. We could move up a lot in a very short amount of time when we break through these all-time highs. I don't know. We might see the most bullish move ever. But to be fair, calling for 100x, looking at it like this makes it seem a little bit less likely, to be completely fair. I thought that this would be a smaller amount. So fair point there to anybody who brought that up. It was me who brought that up, but I'm sure there are other people who think critically as well. It's very uncommon to see and it's not so rare that it never happens, right? There's plenty of coins, top 10 coins, top 100 coins that do live multiple cycles, and they see a more bullish cycle in their second cycle. It happens, but it's not the common expectation. Most of the time you expect to see less growth cycle after cycle, but projects like this, I think, especially with the low market cap like this, you could definitely see more growth. It is a possibility, but 100x already, to me, seeming a little bit less likely of a possibility. 100x here, high to a low. that would take us above the 200. So if this is a less likely possibility, maybe we stop below. Maybe we stop at about, oh wait, yeah, so that would be a 200x overall. Okay, a little bit less. And that'd be at the 1886 to 200, something around $8 to $10. Could be where we go. Overall, a 300x, overall, a 200x from the current price right now at about 15 cents, 15.4 cents, let alone the lower prices that I think it's going to go to. You know, we could see anything if we stop at the 1618, which I doubt we do for the cycle high, but if we do, that's a 23x from here. The 1886, the next target would be a 51x from here, and then the 200 level would be a 73x from here. So those are very doable targets. That's nothing to be ashamed of. If you were to go higher, I would think you don't stop at a 100x from here, but you stop probably more likely something around a 160x to a 200 and something x. Oftentimes with the 2272, you do go a little bit through that, okay? And that is possible. A 200x for this thing, again, that puts you at about a $24-25 billion market cap. Actually, a little bit less than 24. A 200x from here wouldn't be bad at all. It could happen. But again, you're at that point, you're largely outperforming what you did last cycle, aren't you? Let's just look here. At that point, you're doing a 1000x from the low, right? A 1200x from the low. And that sounds crazy. We've seen it happen. It happens every cycle to various coins. Is this one of those coins? The likelihood is not there. So I would expect, if I'm being honest with you and with myself, we probably stop somewhere actually around $11.35 to $8 there. At a minimum, $3.64, but I don't think that's going to happen, man. I think that you're going to stop at least $8, $10. I like $10 as a nice psychological area of resistance. You can stop just below there. You can stop just above there. But something like that, again, that would promote an overall growth from here of about a 50-something x, 51x to potentially a 73x. If we do go higher, and at this point, I think that it's unlikely, but at the same time, let's be fair. It's not completely fair to judge how high this thing can fly until we see how it performs once it breaks out. If it's by the end of May and we're at 364, maybe $25 is a possible target. Maybe $30 is a possible target. Hell, maybe even higher than that is possible. But we have to see. If by the end of May we're only at $1.30, okay, I think we're on point with this $8 to $11.30 target, okay? I don't really have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. Hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.